Okay, so our fifth boss of AQ40, of required bosses, are the Twin Emperors. There are two bosses here. We have the Caster Emperor, I think it's Emperor Veclor is his name, on the left, and the physical Emperor, Emperor Vecnilash, is on the right. Big thing with this fight is that the physical ad can only be hit by physical abilities. They are completely immune to magic, so we won't have any Curse of Wreck or Fairy Fire or anything like that on the melee. On the melee boss and on the magical boss, he'll be a caster, so you cannot melee him. You can only use magic abilities. You have to keep these guys separated. They have a heal twin ability or heal brother ability. If they're within 60 yards of each other, they'll start spam healing each other to full. They share a health pool. I think technically the caster minion has like more or less HP. For some reason, the math works out so that casters, I guess, kind of do more damage. But for all intents and purposes, they have the same HP. Doing 1% on this boss will do 1% on that boss. Um, they will also teleport roughly every 30 seconds. I think the minimum is 30 seconds, but it has a 15-second window, I believe. Um, and they will teleport with each other. Just like Scarum, when this teleport happens, it is a complete threat drop and it will auto aggro. It'll give like 2,000 threat to the nearest person. So you want to make sure that, kind of similar to Rag as a melee for in Molten Core, you want to get out 5 seconds before the window opens, so that there's no chance that it can get onto you. You kind of bounce it around, going back and forth. So this boss will be tanked under the torch. This boss will be tanked under the torch. At 5 seconds until the teleport and melee run out, and you are running across to the other side, and then the boss will teleport, and then you can hit him there. Same thing with the casters. The mages over here, they'll be hitting the caster 5 seconds out. Truthfully, probably 8 seconds out, you'll want to just stop casting all abilities. We don't want like a projectile to go flying through the air and then it teleports and then all of a sudden you have a ton of threat and the boss runs through the room. It's not tunnable. And we also don't want like ignite or dot, like the debuffs remain on the boss. So if you have a dot ticking or if you have an ignite pumping or whatever, it will also steal threat. I'm going to go ahead and give the video a play just to kind of show you. So this is kind of the room. You have the two bosses. You come in right here. If you can see my cursor on the top right of the mini map. So this is the Hoo tunnel. There's all these yellow scarabs. So we can start the fight with full rage. And throughout the fight, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, let me just show the actual pool. Okay, I went too far. So this hunter, you can get close enough where you can actually aim shot without pulling. And we want to make sure that, so whenever someone pulls, it'll pull the other out as well. So the warlock and the hunter need to be very much in unison. So here, they get the pull off. Hunter's pulling it back. You have a warrior ready to start, throwing everything they have into it. DPS are just kind of waiting, let it get in position. You want to tank it. You want to keep your back to the wall on the melee mob because he will knock you back. And you want to keep your back under this torch. The two torches, that's a good place to tank them because you know for sure that's more than 60 yards away. You can see right here, this giant bug. The melee boss will choose random bugs nearby, and it will make them enlarge and become hostile. Like he chooses, yeah, he just makes this one really big. So an off tank is going to come up. This bear is going to AFK, but he's going to come up and pick up the ad and just tank it away. We have a twin teleport in 5. We should see the melee. So melee should already be getting out. They're kind of, they want to do a lot more damage. So the melee are getting out, and what they should do, they should come over here and kill this bug. Yep, perfect. And then they'll go on. You want to kill these bugs where they are. You don't want to drag them because dragging them through the raid will social aggro all these yellow bugs. And it's really easy for the healers to get aggro. So if you ever, it's pretty much like whelps on Broodlord. As if there's ever an ad near you, and it's hitting someone, you want to be killing it. So they had to teleport. At some point, I'll show kind of a better view. So over here, you can see the warlock is tanking the caster twin. They do shadow bolt spam. So we have our warlocks. We'll have one on either side. They'll be wearing a lot of shadow res, and they will be spamming searing pain to get high threat. There's another, yeah. So there's a couple more of these ads that the bears are tanking. We have a couple of seconds out. This melee, see, he's doing smart. This guy's smart because, do I show it here? So this tank will stay here until the teleport. And also, oh, that was good. So look, the timer, this is when the window starts. So it's like, okay, now it can happen, but it's a 15-second window. So the teleport happens like 6 seconds late. So he teleports immediately. This guy has no threat. So I'm targeting the wrong thing. But what happens is when the teleport happens, your tank will want to immediately run away. This tank is kind of slow. And that's why this caster minion, he arcane explosions. He will arcane explode the caster one whenever someone is in melee range. So he teleports. This guy, he's not moving quick enough. He's staying like half a second too long. This guy senses someone within melee range, so he arcane explosions and pushes them out. And it does a good amount of damage. The warrior right here, he also started with this 2k threat because he was the closest person, and the warlock is spamming Searing Pain to pick it up. Actually, I want to show it different. Where is it? 26? Yeah, I think this is my point of view where I pull. This one actually was a little bit of a scuffed pull, so this is a good example to show. So the warlock pulls just before I do, and I almost don't get the aim shot off on this twin. And it's almost like detrimental. So see how he pulls, and I'm lucky because I get this off, but like if I don't get that auto shot off, I don't get that aim shot, like there's no way we're pulling, that's just killing the warlock, and I mean the run is over. So it's very important that we nail this pull. I'm running behind it. I have about 1,000 threat. He should be able to get a bloodthirst crit or something, but if he doesn't, we'll have a feign death. We'll be ready to bop the hunter. He tanks it right here. You see this warrior just got hit with an uppercut. It'll be on a random person in melee, so there is a chance for the uppercut to hit the tank as well. But it does anywhere from like 3 to 4k damage, and it knocks them back. That's why you want the tank to be on the wall. So you can see, I think it was Monkey. Yeah, Monkey. We'll see a warrior go flying in a second. Yeah, so that warrior, he gets knocked back. Simple as that. This melee boss will also do an unbalancing strike. It also deals 3 to 4,000 damage. It's only on the tank, and it will reduce their defense by 100 for 6 seconds. So this is, it has a chance to, do a lot of damage, and it also reduces your mitigation for the next 6 seconds. So it's very important to make sure, maybe throw a powered shield when that happens, or be ready to, holy shock, just continue the healing. The damage can be pretty spiky. This fight is kind of the point I'm going after. This Feral's picking up the ad. This Relax tank. So on the pull, the Warlock tank, it may not be able to get it in a good position. So what's going to happen is this Warrior tank is going to stand right in front of the Warlock tank. So right as it teleports, he's the closest, and he will get threat. This is good. Right here is bad. You will see. I think that's what happens in this clip. He will go to this guy first because he's closest, and he will one-shot him. So let's see if the Pally dies. The priest dies, yeah. He's closest, boom. Willie Pete has 2,000 threat because he's the closest, and he gets one shot. So don't stand closer. Okay, so the tank is pulling it back under the torch. Melee are letting him get threat. Again, this guy's randomly spawning ads or making the small bugs get big. Melee will be like whirlwinding and multi-shotting, and we'll be clearing out all these bugs. So anytime that there's bugs around, you're just killing them pretty much. You just don't want to drag them throughout the raid. Okay, so the window's open. So see, you can see here, the Warlock is tanking it, not on the stairs. We don't really want anyone on these stairs. They can kind of bug out with the boss. The Warrior tank is close. They're closer than anyone else, but they're not so close that they're not in melee range. So this is a pretty good bit. Maybe this is a bit close, but yeah, it happens. Immediately they run in. He's full rage. He gets a bloodthirst on. He's got 6k threat within a second. This is a very clean transition right here. At some point, I think it'll kind of swap to like the caster minion to show how much. I mean, yeah, look at how much that hold on, it's Kajiki. Look at how much he gets tanked right here. boom, like he gets chunked to like what is that minus 5,600 damage I think. So they can definitely slap. Um, you can maybe consider using a bag of marbles. I'm not sure if it would actually work on this guy, um, because of the whole magical immunity thing. I think technically bag of marbles is physical, but yep. Either way, so teleport window is open. They're moving. I wanted to watch the movement here. So the window, look at this, like 8 seconds left, or 8 seconds into the move. This is another thing. So mages and warriors and rogues and everyone, if the window is so late, you may actually get to your next twin before it's happened. You just need to sit here AFK and just wait. And even when the boss does teleport, you still need to wait because, again, it's just threat is constantly resetting. So we're waiting. Boom, the teleport happens. He is immediately running out. There's a little bit of a small delay. This was clean. He got out quick enough. The warrior will eat a couple shadow bolts, and then the warlock is able to take over on threat, and then the mages can start DPSing. It's just so much of a control fight. The enrage timer is it's up here 15 minutes, so we're not really worried about hitting the enrage timer. Staying in for a couple extra seconds can get you killed, and it's not worth it. If we fuck up positioning on this boss, like it's game over. You can't. It's really hard to clean things up once they get fucked. So that was clean. The warrior's waiting. Oh, yep. So over here you can actually see the warrior fucked up. I think I get a point of view. So teleport happens. So threat is reset. Let's see if I pan my camera. This warrior, I don't know why he's running through the boss. He needs to be running like away. Like he's taking like the longest possible path to get away from the boss. This is the caster boss. He should never be in this melee animation. So I think he swings on him and arcane blast to like kick him out, and then he moves around a little bit. See how he's moving? We do not want the caster boss ever moving. We don't want either of them moving, but caster boss is really bad. The caster boss has like a melee and a caster mode, and there has been um I've seen videos where the caster boss gets stuck in melee mode and just chases after the warlock and just kills him. So we want to minimize any possible movement or anything that can trigger that. You can't just like lip if you pull aggro as like a mage. Like that doesn't do anything, right? It makes you immune to physical damage. Caster does magical damage. So there is no like pulling threat isn't even like an option. You can maybe Petri, but it's like just don't even get close to it. And that's pretty much the fight. I mean, there's also, you can see there's a blizzard that goes out. It does about 1,500 damage per tick. You just move out of it as soon as it happens. I want to show an explode. Oh, there's an explode. So you know how the melee minion, he will choose random scarabs to. Oh, it happened again. This guy was too slow. So the melee ad will choose scarabs and make them hostile and make them big. The caster boss will choose random scarabs and make them explode. It's like a 2 or 3 second cast time. It does a good amount of fire AoE damage. So when that happens, you definitely want to move away. The warlock tank, if it happens on the warlock tank, they may not be able to move. So it's important for healers to be ready to power shield or somehow have a response to that increased damage intake. I'd like to show a good example of it if I pan around. Okay, so here, like look at this, like 11 seconds into the window. This guy, he moves along the wall, quick, perfect, very clean. We might not get an example of the yeah. So you can trap these. I think you can stun them and scatter them, do any CC, but the off tanks will be able to pick them up. Let me see. I want to show a. I really want to show the explode. Maybe we'll get one over here. Right there, boom. That's an explode bug. Okay, do we just see what happened there? And there's no timer for this. Like I don't even think I get a DB warning. See how he gets a little flame, and then he gets big, and then he explodes. This guy, yeah, does about 3k damage. So there's frost damage here. There's fire damage. Um, There's shadow damage from the actual boss. There's arcane damage from the caster, but like there's pretty much everything. I think technically these scorpions can do like nature, like poison. So definitely, if you're a mage, I would definitely recommend doing a frost prot pot and a fire prot pot. If you can afford the buff slots, it just helps out the healers on damage intake. But that's pretty much twins. It's a pretty long fight. I think this raid berserk time is 15 minutes. They kill it in 6 minutes, so it's it's a long fight, uh, and it'll take quite a bit of experience or quite a bit of planning. But I definitely think we can do it. So we kill twins, and next we have a really fucking long hallway of trash. This room, it just sucks. This trash sucks so much. It is so boring, and there's just so much of it. There's I think 6 packs that pat around in this first room. Each pat will have one Karaji warrior. Is that what they're called? One Karaji champion and 4 other ads. The 4 other ads can either be a mind slayer or a slayer. I don't know what they're doing, like fucking summoning people. Okay, so this is a good example of because people are already dead and it's showing. So we have a Karaji champion over here. This guy, it will be start. This is last kill target. It'll be tanked off, in the backside of the room. It'll do an AoE fear, so we'll want a fear ward on the tank. It will knock away, so tank keep your back to the wall. Or what I like to do when there are still other ads alive, you put this in the back of the room, and then you put your back to the rest of the raid, so that when you get knocked back, because when it does a knockback, it is also a threat drop. So when you get knocked back, you can just immediately go back in and taunt it. It puts you between the rest of the raid. So as soon as like Skull or X die, whichever ad first dies, you're then playing goalie on this champion to make sure it doesn't go crazy. This Karaji champion also has a vengeance buff, just like the Karaji warriors in AQ20, like the 2 guys at the gate. Um, it is magic dispellable. It'll enrage and do a lot of damage and attack speed. You can just dispel it, priests. So be ready to do that anytime you see this guy get big. I know he always does it when all the 4 other ads die. I believe he can also do it at other times. I'm not 100% sure, but just we'll have a priest in the back, kind of ready to dispel. For the other mobs, we can see we have a Karaji Slayer here. Was this a full? So it is a chance. It's a yeah. So this is a full Slayer pack. So what you can do is you can fish IDs in AQ40 to try and get like more Karaji Slayers. This is super common back in original classic for speedrunning purposes. We're also going to do it just because the Slayers are way more comfortable to kill than the Mind Slayers, and I'll explain in a second why. First, so these Karaji Slayers, they do a lot of physical and a lot of melee damage. I mean, that's pretty much all they do, right? They have a cleave, they have a whirlwind, they have a knockaway. So they're pretty similar to the lashers from like Surtura. I don't believe they're stunnable. Don't quote me, but I don't think you can stun them. But what we'll want to do is we'll definitely want to spread them out so that we're not getting cleave on the whole raid. They can also frenzy, so we'll be wanting to have hunters be ready to trank. So there it is. Do I trank? Oh, someone already tranked, so it went away. When it is frenzy, that's when it'll start spam silencing people around it. The silence is dispellable, and I think it is also outrangeable. But just instantly trank, and then priest and pally be ready to dispel. And they'll also battle shout each other. So just multiple reasons, just spread them out. They are tauntable. When they knock back, they will also drop threat. So we'll have two tanks ready. One tanking, the other just ready to immediately taunt and pick it up. And we'll just put them along the wall, kind of in each corner, wherever. You'll also notice that when the last lasher dies, the Karaji champion gets bigger. So I'll show that in a second. So Square is gonna die. I think he gets like instantly dispelled, pretty much. So he gets big. That's the buff. It's magic. Attack speed increased 50%. Movement speed increased 40%. It is magic though, so just dispel it. It's that simple. This guy, like I said, he does an AoE fear. He will also do a knockback that will drop. I think the knockback is actually. I think it drops everyone in melee range's threat, or everyone that gets hit with a knockback. Let's see if this guy does it. So there's the AoE fear. That's not a knockback. I think, did a hunter just pull aggro there? I'm actually not sure what. Oh, that hunter is me. How did I? What the hell? Well, don't do whatever I did right there. That's weird. Maybe that was the threat drop because I don't see any more melee on it. I'm thinking that's what happened. I think it threat dropped and the warrior just taunted my aggro, and that's how he got there. I want to show a better example because that's not a very clear. So this pack looks like there's some mind slayers. I want to finish this champion before I talk about mind slayers though. So yeah, there's a knockback. This guy runs to a random healer because that's who's gonna have threat. They bring it back. Moon, look, that was a knockback. Now Moon's in the raid, frenzied. Moon dies. This guy gets big. He knocks everyone back. Drops threat. He's going crazy. You want to get him out of the raid? He's immune to scatter. Will we see another knockback? I'm not sure. So there's an AoE fear. I think we saw one technically up here. I just want to like prove the threat drop so people are pretty clear. So there was a knockback. It dropped threat on both of these people, so it's just going on a random person. They taunt it. They bring it back. I have it targeted. Okay. Yep. So all these melee get knocked up just to show, all the people. What was that? So it'll happen in like 07, I think. So look at the threat meter. You can see all these warriors, a rogue. They all get wiped out immediately whenever the knockback happens, and then it's on a random resto druid, and threat is just going all over the place. So just max melee range. Make sure you're dispelling or max ranged from the boss if you're like a ranged. Oh, it's a boomkin. And yeah, the third type of mob in these packs. Oh, actually, I think we had two on this pack. Are the Karaji Mind Slayers. So the Mind Slayers are really the reason that people hate this trash. So there's Skull and X right here. They enter the room. They're not tauntable, by the way, and they're kind of running all over the place. So look, they have a Mind Flay. It targets on the thing. Um, I I forget if it's kickable. I feel like it's not kickable. I don't see a cast time. I'm happy, fuck, dude. If it's kickable, that's awesome. But just be prepared to out heal the damage. It also does a mind control, so you'll want to make sure that we're not getting any damage out on we're not doing, AoE. We'll want to separate these. We want to line of sight them from each other because when they die, they do a AoE flee. So there it is. It's like a mana burn flee. Yeah, fleeing and fear. You cannot fear ward this. It is not a fear, it's a flee. So the only way to prevent it is with a curse of wreck. So what we want to happen is whenever someone gets mind controlled, we want to throw a curse of wreck on them from one of the warriors that makes them, not flee immune. Also, if they're melee, it'll make them do more damage, which is fun. But we want to move these mind slayers so that they're alone. They may be first kill target. It's kind of situational. It's kind of like the first 4 noob assass at the beginning of the instance, depending on which one you want to kill first. If they're in a good position, then we want to kill them. You just don't want to kill them like when they're in the raid. If they're like, for example, if square right here, if this was a Karaji Mind Slayer and it was at 10% HP, we would not want to kill it because that means all these people are getting fleed and that's all your healers. You can outrange the flea, you can line of sight the flea. So, and it's also a mana burn and it's 8 seconds. There's no way to get. I think maybe you can bubble out of it, but it's just control. Besides that, I mean, these have 100k health. They should die pretty relatively quick. Again, it's just all about control. So that was 2 packs. There's like 3 more in here. So this is up. Let me go back just to kind of show where I went. Okay, so we're in the room. We've cleared out a couple packs. The raid is deciding to move up further into the room. You can see what it looks like right here. This trash is padding down. We're definitely going to pull most of the stuff back into it, into the Twin Imps room. You can just pet pull pretty easily and bring it down. Again, new places to line of sight and tank things against the wall. That tank just gets chunked because no one else is picking up their mobs. There's Karaji, these yellow, scorpions or scarabs. You just want to get rid of them. That was pretty bad. Like the Karaji champion just in the raid. We got an MC in the raid. Like this is very bad. We just killed the Mind Slayer in the raid. Yeah, this is a disaster pool. This is what we don't want to happen. It's all about control. So many of these can drop threat. I mean, literally all of them have a threat drop ability. The mind control will go out on the top threat, by the way, for these mind slayers. So we'll know immediately who needs to be stunned. It'll be whoever's tanking. So the second tank on these will may need to make sure that they're the second threat. It's just like a car. It MCs the top threat. There's a couple more trash packs. I'm going to skip through those. It's just more of the same. So we have a couple new trash mobs up here. You can see we're using a pet to pull it back. So we have 2 Obsidian Nullifiers and 1 Anubisath Warder. These Nullifiers are similar to Moam or the Anubisath or the Obsidian, what they call it, Destroyers. I think at the beginning of the instance, they'll mana burn, mana drain the whole raid, and you'll want to make sure you're nuking Skull and mana burn spamming on X. You don't want to get to full. I think technically it's not a one shot. I think what it actually does like brings your health down to 1 and cleanses all your buffs. But either way, we don't want to see either of them. This warder, the jury is kind of still out on these warders. They're supposed to have abilities, but we're not really seeing it press its buttons right now. It has a couple abilities it can do. So every warder has the chance of doing Fire Nova for sure, which is just an AoE fire damage around it. They will also have a chance at doing like a Dust Cloud, which is similar to the Curinax debuff, where if you're in melee range or if you're close enough nearby and you get hit, it reduces your chance to hit with your weapons by like 85%. So it's essentially taking out any melee that get hit with it from the fight. It also can do Entangling Root spam on the entire raid. It's a magic debuff, so you can dispel it. You can, escape artist out of it. Gnome's OP. But that's just another thing that they can do. They can also do a silence. I believe it's an AoE silence. I think you can outrange it though. Again, you should just be able to dispel the silence. And they will also do an AoE fear. Um, Again, it look like these mobs just aren't doing anything right now, so it looks really easy. But I have had times where they decide to press all their buttons and they can pretty much annihilate you. So it's pretty important that we kill these nullifiers quickly before the warder, the Anubisath, decides to press his buttons and reduce our chance to hit or put melee in roots or whatever they decide to do. There's 4 of these packs. There's 2 more trash packs up here. It looks like this pack kind of goes into Oro's room, and then I think it kind of comes back into this. This pack I think stops here, and we'll just go back into Cthulhu's room. Yeah, so this comes back into this room. 4 Slayers again. They spread them out. I like the spread. I just rather it be against the walls. You don't want it to be like right, because if someone gets knocked back, and I don't know, it can. There's just no reason to ever be close to other mobs that you can pull. So there's the silence. This Lasher or this Slayer. See how he's casting? And then he casts on me. Right there. That's the silence during the frenzy. Just another reason to be away from them and to be dispelling them or tranking them. Let me pull that pack. We pull the warders. Okay. And finally Cthulhu. And I am 29 minutes into this recording already, so that's cool. That's probably better time than I was expecting. Okay, so the run up to Cthulhu is pretty far. Truthfully, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to Twin Imp's room just to practice positioning. And also, I don't really, there's no reason to be anywhere close to Cthulhu's room until you're actually pulling him. We don't want someone to, accidentally face check him. So the pull is a very important part. The entire fight, to be clear, is very important. But the pull can also be messed up. I'll just let this play. It's a long, winding road. Give myself a breather. Okay. So finally, we're on the outside of Cthulhu's room. Let's see if I show it kind of, if I pan. Cool. There is Cthulhu. The Eye of Cthulhu is phase 1. So this is the entrance. If you're looking at the mini map, this is the entrance at the north, kind of northwest side, technically. It's a little bit off center. That's the gong. We're not going to use cardinal directions. We're just going to say like gong side or entrance side because that's kind of a lot simpler. Phase 1, Cthulhu has 4 abilities. Most notably is by far his eye beam ability. Throughout the fight, it's a 2-second cast and he'll be spamming it. He will choose a completely random target after the pull, and he will do about 25 to 3,000 nature damage. If that target chains it to another person, I believe technically it's 10 yards. Let me verify. But if you chain that to another person, it will deal double damage to what it just did. So it will deal like 5,000 damage or 6,000 on the second person. On the third person, it'll deal up to 5 to 10 or 11k damage. So it's like if you hit like a third person, unless they have like a GNPP popped and they're like a tank or a hunter or someone with like over 10k health, like they're probably dead. It is paramount that you do not fuck up positioning here. If you are out of position, like you have to fix it immediately. That is prio number 1. On pull, there will be the boss will chain onto the tank the first 2 times. So let me show that. Whoever pulls first, they will always get the first 2 chains. So the tank pulls first, he gets 1 eye beam, and then he gets dismounted because he's in combat. He gets eye beamed again, he gets dismounted. Or sorry, he gets eye beamed twice. That third, was that a third eye beam right there? Sorry. So that's 1. This is 2. This is 3. So those first 2 are, and he gets to the 4th, which is kind of impressive. So and then he does targets. So what's going to happen on the pull is you're going to have the Eye of Cthulhu targeted. I'm going to run in. I'm going to be getting the first 2 eye beams for sure. You always get it on the first person that gets in it. And then after that, it's top threat. So I'm going to be blood raging. I may, Mighty Rage Pod or something. I'm going to be hitting the boss just to get as much, threat on me so that I eat that third, maybe even 4th, like we just saw eye beam. And then the boss will do nothing for about 10 seconds or so. He's just kind of bugged. And then once everyone's in position, well, not once as everyone's in position, and then he will start casting eye beams again. Boom! Like 2 melee just died because they were too close. So you want to have the eye on the run-in. You want to have the eye targeted so that you know who the eye beam is going to, and you want to make sure you are not pressing any buttons. You cannot curse. You cannot throw out you cannot blood rage. You cannot do a heal or a buff or anything. Absolutely no abilities, no cast, no threat gen. The pets, hunter pets cannot chain the whatever it's called, the eye beam, so you don't have to worry about that. You can feel free to have your pet out. But this pull is very important. So we're gonna have people that can get to the back pretty quick assigned to the back. So like if you have a mount already, or if you have like maybe some mages up back here with blink or cheetah for hunters, or if you have maybe put on your nifty. We want to get in positions ASAP. The people here in the front, they can pretty much just run to their spot. So you can see we're at a 10-yard range. We're spread out so that if we do get an eye beam, it doesn't hit someone. What is going on with this? So you can see, and he'll target who he's eye beaming, and a star will go out on that target from DBM. So we see Thanatos star, and another thing, he will also point in the direction that he's eye beaming. Like it's a very intuitive fight. If you just pay attention, the boss will tell you what he's doing. So we're gonna get an eye beam on star. This star looks pretty close to these other mobs, to these other marks, and let's see what happens. Let's see how many people get hit. So square is dead. This guy is dead. Triangle's almost dead. Star is not dead. So star, he takes about 3,000 damage. Triangle takes about 5,000. These guys, so that it's roughly double. not counting like resists and anything. And these guys both died. So if you're the one, you just can't chain it. It's just as simple as that. And then he'll just immediately start casting again. I'm not targeting the boss right now, but oh, so that's over on here. Chains it to these two melee. This one's going over to a hunter. There's a star right there, so you see where he's selecting it. Also, what will be going so I beam. That's one ability of his 4 in phase 1. Second ability is he spawns claw tentacles throughout the room every 10 seconds about. When they spawn, they will knock you back like they just did here, and they will do a little bit of damage. I think about 1,000 nature damage. I want to say. I think it's DVIs right here. Let's see how much damage he takes. Yeah, so about 1,500 damage. These ads don't have a lot of health. They have 1,500 damage, or they have 1,500 health. Any ranged, you just want to kill these as soon as you can. If they're not killed within, I want to say like 10 seconds, and there's no one in melee range to get hit by them, they will reburrow and they'll go back down and they'll reburrow somewhere else and just hit someone else. So it's make sure you're killing them. We don't want you want to make sure though that your location is max priority. So don't like fuck up a stack. Don't get within 10 yards of someone else just to kill it. Um, so that means like hunters, mages, honestly, even healers that are nearby, like 1,500 health. That's like a couple smites from a priest. Just make sure you're taking care of them. Also, every 45 seconds throughout the fight, eye tentacles will spawn. There will be 8 eye tentacles. These things. So this is third ability. They will do a mind flay. So they'll spawn and then they'll kind of do nothing for like half a second, and then they'll mind flay people randomly throughout the room. It's not just like whoever's close. So it is very important that we kill these as soon as possible. Again, look, they do a knockback just like these. There's lots of ways to get out of position here, so it's important. I will say, so the claw tentacles, you know when they're gonna spawn. You don't know where they're gonna spawn. These eye tentacles, you know where and when they're both gonna spawn. They're always gonna spawn in these same locations. So this little black ring, you don't want to be near it. You want to be either if you're melee, you want to be closer to the boss, or if you're ranged, you want to be further away. So that's just because that's just useless damage. No one should be taking damage to that. When they spawn though, they're kind of doing nothing, and then after a couple of seconds, they start mind flaying random people around the room. It's very important that you kill any eye that's near you, because the mind flay can be happening to someone way across the room, and they've no counterplay. It does damage. It does a good amount of shadow damage, and it slows them. And you'll notice this red beam thing that I haven't talked about. So when the mind flay happens, it'll slow them. If you're getting slowed and you're right next to the eye beam, you won't outrun it. You'll just die. So you gotta work with the team and kill any eye beams near you or any small eyes. Let me go back to this dark glare ability. So fourth ability of phase 1 is dark glare. During dark glare, or sorry, so we'll see dark glare. I don't like this view. I'm showing a bad VOD, I think. Let me show 26. So dark glare, it does about 50,000 shadow damage if you get hit by it. So you just can't get hit by it. It's just Here we have dark glare happening in 3 seconds. We'll see a D-beam warning. The boss will turn red, and he's facing the direction, like I just said with the I-beam. He's facing the direction that he's going to cast it. This circle guy, I think he dies because he just doesn't run away. Oh no, circle lives to square. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, he's not even paying attention. So this melee, he's like, oh, there's no one back here. I guess I'll kill the small eye when it spawns. What's going on with my video? The dark glare will choose a random location, and it'll send a beam down the aisle. It'll deal 50,000 damage if you get hit by it. It'll do a 180-degree turn. Okay, so let's watch this rogue. So this rogue gets hit. He sees eye tentacles spawn, so he goes to kill it. Circle and square, they move out of the way. But this rogue, Blades, he's trying to help out, and he just dies. So you gotta react quick. You gotta move away. It'll choose a random direction to rotate. It'll go 180 degrees. So this, see where my mouse is on the top right? It went to the north side. This, just for the record, this is why we call it a gong, because there's a gong on this side. And it goes 180 degrees. It's kind of slow moving. But the biggest issue is you don't want to get knocked into it. I actually have a Twitch clip, and I posted it somewhere, of me getting knocked into the dark glare from the I'm pulling it up on my other monitor real quick. Should have had this ready. Okay, so this is a private server for the record, but the point still stands. We see a dark glare. I should not I stop here. I try and kill this. This is the wrong move. I should be running away immediately. Apologize for the quality, but I'm getting mind flayed because no one's killing this eye. I get this spawns, the claw tentacle spawns, knocks me back into the dark glare, and I die. Like that's pretty shitty RNG, but you got to make sure that you're further away from it so you get a knockback. You're not dying immediately on the dark glare. Dark glare's right next to me. I'm running away. I'm getting knocked around a lot. Another claw spawns right here, pushes me back in. That's bad. Don't do that. Another example of how bad the I-beam can be, and we're not going to be stacked up here when we run in. We're going to be way further away, and we're just going to move in all together. But here, like a fucking dumbass, I just peek. IQ targets me. Boom. Entire half of the raid is dead. So, don't do this either. Okay. So Dark Glare. Dark Glare will last, I think it's 30 seconds. Dark Glare happens. 35 seconds. So it'll go 180 degrees around the room. Everyone's going to flip sides. So if you're supposed to stand where I am right now, you go think if the boss isn't there, you can just go straight through. You can mirror. That's where you want to be. During Dark Glare, he cannot I-beam, so stacking is not an issue. There's no issue with with how close you are. The boss is pretty much just free DPS at this point. Melee, you do want to be careful. You don't want to get too close inside the boss. If you get too close inside the boss, you will get killed by the beam. It does kind of extend into him. Also, if you get too close inside the boss, he will just punch you out. I think we see a punt here. Let me see. Yeah, this guy gets fucking flying because he was too close into the boss. So this is kind of just a free DPS. People are slowly moving. Again, it is a random way. It'll be clockwise or counterclockwise. We won't know until it happens. These guys are too close. There's just no reason to be close. So Dark Glare ends pretty soon. Everyone should be in position pretty soon, like right now. I'm kind of just chilling in this bad spot. See, look, this is a terrible spot. I was right here. I know that the eye will spawn here because it's right next to the black circle. And yet I just stand here. And what I'm doing right now, this is so fucking wrong. I'm just running through people. Like, if I get I-beam, I just kill some healer. Don't do that. Just find an open spot. If there's not open spot, people will need to make room for you. If it's really bad, you can just double stack, for the record. It's just like Rag. So range can eat a double chain. So like right here, I should just be running like onto someone. I should just stop on this pally. This triple stack, that could be deadly. But if you're really out of position and the only scenario is like you have to choose someone to stand on, just do it. A 2 stack is okay. A 3 stack, that's bad. There's plenty of room here, so healers and hunters and mage and anyone that has that can outrange, like give as much room as you want. We're not really worried about DPS in phase 1. I think we'll hit the second Dark Glare timer pretty well. So biggest thing is just we can't lose DPS in phase 1. I don't want to lose anyone, for the record. I don't think we will. I think we'll be okay if everyone brings ready game. But just another thing, just make sure that you're feel free to give more than 10 yards. Honestly, I kind of like a range check of more of like 15 or 18, so that even if you do get knocked back with a claw spawn, you won't get chained. Okay, so that's phase 1. We have the I-beam, we have the tentacle party every 45 seconds, we have claw tentacles every 10 seconds, and we have the dark glare every on pull. It's different timers, but you'll be able to see when it's happening. So here we kill it right before the second dark glare. Everyone is converging on the entrance side. We want to make sure that these ads are dead. This is a threat drop. This is a combat drop if all the ads in the room are dead. The hunter, I'm able to just feign death and get the what's it called? I'm able to get a drink off. But if these ads are dead, everyone can trinket swap. Everyone can heal. Or everyone can drink mana. The mages, priests, warlocks, hunters, they can all get their mana back. So we want to make sure that we kill the ads. When the boss dies, everyone will converge onto the gong side, onto the entrance side, and we want to be in kind of a loose spread. This is a great reason why I say a loose spread. So we don't want too many people to get hit by these spawns. Again, all ads in Cthulhu, when they spawn, they will deal damage, they will deal nature damage to you, and they will knock you back. We don't want to all be stacked up because we don't want all 40 people in the raid to take this damage. But we don't want to be so spread out because of a different mob that I'm about to show you. So in phase 2 of Cthulhu, this is what this is, phase 2, a couple different things happen. The biggest difference is there is no dark layer in phase 2. So the giant, circle thing, that doesn't happen anymore. There will still be small eyes, and now they will spawn faster. They'll spawn every 30 seconds instead of every 45 seconds. The small tentacles will stop spawning. The ones that spawn every 10 seconds in phase 1 that knock you back, those do not continue in phase 2. Cthulhu will not cast his eye beam anymore, so that's good. On the downside, the eye beam is still present from the giant eyes. So, big thing with phase 2. Every 30 seconds, a giant mob will spawn. It is offset, so it changes every 30 seconds. So, phase 2 starts. We know it's a giant claw the first time, always. We have these timers. The timers on Cthulhu are so exact. Boom. It happens, giant claw spawns. Or maybe it's like 2 seconds off. Okay? This giant claw spawned. 1 minute later, the next giant claw will spawn. So the giant claw specifically spawns every 1 minute. But in 30 seconds, we'll get a giant eye. So every 30 seconds, we're getting a giant something. It's always going to go one or the other. It's a predetermined schedule. If we just got a giant eye, next will be a giant claw. If we just got a giant claw, next will be a giant eye. Along with this, on every spawn except the first one, it looks like we will get a small eye party as well. So this giant claw tentacle, it does a lot of melee damage, a fucking lot. Like you cannot be in melee range if there is not a tank on this. Casters and healers, like you will get one shot. Furies and druids and rogues, you may get two shot. You probably will get one shot though. These are tauntable. They won't move, but they are tauntable. Look at how much this guy is getting hit so hard. So just get a tank on it as soon as possible. All DPS focus, and there's kind of a lull period here. We have giant eye coming up in 7. We have small eyes coming up in 7. You don't want to be too far spread out, and I'm about to show you why. This is such a good VOD because there's so many good examples of what not to do. You want to kind of have about 2 pizza slices of all the people here, because the giant eye and the giant claw, they will always spawn on one person. It will choose a person in the raid and it will spawn on top of them. We want to make sure that these ads spawn where everyone else is, or close by at least, not right on top. We want to spawn the ads where other people are nearby. We don't want people like this druid to be in the back because there's a 1 in 40 chance, and it happens here, that the giant eye will spawn on them. So I'm gonna ignore these small eyes for a second. You can kind of see this is a giant eye. It spawns way back here, and honestly, we get really lucky because it's getting stunned and it's immune to scatter, and we get some kicks off. But these guys, look, did you see that? The giant eyes, they have the eye beam now. So if we get a giant eye in the corner of the room where there's only one person and no one can kick it, no one can stun it or CS or anything, and it gets an eye beam off, like GG, people die. So this is the same exact eye beam ability as phase 1. It's just now Cthulhu doesn't do it. This ad does it. So we want to make sure that these are spawned close to the raid in these 2 pizza slices. You want to get taunts on it. You want to stun it. You want to kick it. Just nuke it. When that happens at the same time, we see the party comes out. The 8 small eyes come out. These are the exact same mobs as phase 1. The only difference is it's every 30 seconds, not every 45. So what we want to have doing, we'll have a hunter and a mage assigned on both sides, and you'll get these back tentacles. Melee will get the front tentacles. They have about 2,500 HP. They die, in one bloodthirst or one crit auto. Yeah, like a multi-shot is so fat here. So see how these hunters and mages, we're getting to the far back, we're assassinating these, and then we're immediately getting back to the front. These melee are taking out the front mobs. This giant eye should not be here. This should be in the back. So essentially it's 2 mages, 2 hunters. There'll be one here, one ad back here, one more back here that you don't see. So that's 4 ranged. Everyone else is killing the giant eye, the giant claw, or the small eyes that spawn in front. So giant eye just spawned. We see giant claw in 17, small eyes in 17. So we will get a giant something every 30 seconds. We will get a small eye party every 30 seconds. The giant eye and the giant claw are offset by 30 seconds. It can never be the same back to back. It'll always flip flop between the two. This is a good position. I like how close this thing is. We'll have tanks spread out, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, taunting, picking up the claw. During this phase, the boss is not vulnerable. You can hit him for like wisdom and light procs from valleys, but I mean, look at how much damage my melee does. Oh, I'm mending pet, but like you just do no damage to the boss. You can hit him for flurry and for rage if you want, but don't bother. This is a great placement. I get hit here, but I mean, hey, it's free. It's free, boost to get these eyes in the back. And I'm not showing it, but this whole time they're stunning it, they're kicking it, they're nuking down that giant eye. I think I'll melee the boss here, or I'll shoot the boss. I do 5. My pet does 1. So I haven't talked about the stomach yet because I do get sucked down. So I want to talk about that when I get there. But it's just a wave event pretty much until we can actually get the stomach down. So it's a long fight. I've seen raids go fucking 15 minutes in this fight. It can happen. I believe we will be able to one phase it, and I'll explain what that means in a second. So again, it's just you're clearing out the ads, and you kind of see with this like kind of lull period right here. This is when we want to go invulnerable. So there's a good 10 seconds here of just nothing is alive. That's another reason why we want to kill everything so quick. I want to show the stomach. So randomly, you'll see this little thing happen back here. People at random in the raid will get sucked down into the stomach. This little thing will chew you up and bring you down. That thing right there. That brings them into the stomach. In the stomach, there are 2 ads. Oh, there we are. Okay, so I get sucked down. Actually, I think I get kind of bad RNG. Yeah, the giant claw spawns on me. I take damage and I go in. So 1 claw's already dead, but there's 2 claws here. When both of these claws die, the boss skull goes vulnerable for 45 seconds, and that's when you can do normal boss damage to him. Inside the stomach, you will get a dot. This dot does damage every 5 seconds, and it stacks every 5 seconds. The first tick is like 150 nature damage. It's not very big. Second tick, 300. Third tick, 450. It goes up by 150 every 5 seconds. Once you get to like 5 or 6 stacks, you start taking 900 damage a tick. It really starts adding up. And there's not anyone else in here with you. I think they take a person, every 10, 15 seconds into the stomach. Don't expect a healer to be here to just heal you, okay? You do the damage that you can. You run to one of these islands. You do what damage that you can, and then you run out to the elevator. The boss is at 13%. I see, okay, Giant Eye just spawned, 17 seconds ago. I am communicating with the upstairs and saying, hey, I can kill this tentacle right now. Is it clear upstairs? Are there no more ads? Do you want to push? Upstairs says yes. So, okay, we kill the boss. Or we kill this ad. Cthulhu is weakened, 45 seconds. This resets all the timers. No ads can spawn during the weaken phase. But if there's any ads that are alive when you go to weaken, those ads will remain. If it's like a giant claw, we'll just have a tank it in the side. We'll have healers heal them, and that'll be fine. If it's like a giant eye, I still want to kill that as soon as if there's mind flay, if there's small eyes or a giant eye, we kill those, and then we go to the weaken phase. To get out of Cthulhu's stomach, you come to this platform right here, this elevator, and it'll do some rocks, and it'll shoot you out. You want to make sure you don't jump when you're on this elevator. You want to make sure you're dead in the center. You want to make sure that you don't go in when someone else is going. I've seen examples of where, and I kind of do it here, honestly. Maybe I was trying to bait it to see if it'll happen. Where, like, this guy gets exploded. I'm, like, here, and it shoots me on the wall, and I fall down. I take fall damage, and then I die because I'm in the room for too long. So you've got to be, like, one at a time or do it at the exact same time if you're trying to get out. I would just do one at a time, really. Hey, you get to 5 stacks, you go out. Another thing with these tentacles is you can get meleeed by them, and they do a good amount of melee damage. I think it's like 500 or 600 a hit. So if you're ranged, just outrange them. Don't be in melee range. There's no reason to. There's no reason to get hit by them. So I come out. The boss will be purpley, and everyone is pumping the boss at this point. Even healers, they're smite spamming. Paladins, feel free to live out your ret dreams. Just don't put up shitty debuffs. We'll have full sunners. We'll have scorch. We'll have all the debuffs already on the boss, ready to go. So as soon as they vuln, we are nuking the boss. We're doing Death Wish, Flask, Wreck, Sappers, Adrenaline, everything. We'll have DMF. I think we have the DPS to one phase it. Because if we don't one phase it, we got to do everything again. We got to kill the 2 ads in the stomach again. We got to go through all the ad spawns. It's just so much that we don't want to deal with. So here we get it down to 24%. We'll have a giant claw immediately after this, and we do the exact same thing over again. See, this small claw, this has been up for like 5 minutes from phase 1. That shouldn't be up anymore. Giant claw dies. They get a tank on it. And we do the whole thing over again. Small eye and giant eye in 10 seconds. We'll show that, once they spawn, healer will be ready to move. So here you can see D-beam will show you like who's in the stomach and what the health is on the tentacles. So it's a lot easier for someone up here to call the shots on like, hey, we need to push, or not. See, I had an I-beam casting on me from the giant eye behind me, and they killed it. So, but I get pulled again. It's 2 full health ads. We're gonna kill the right one first. So don't split your DPS. Just focus down one, get it down, and then focus on the other. Feel free to use whatever debuffs. They're not gonna get up to 16. So I'm just standing here. Look, this mage gets whacked. He gets too close. Just don't run in melee range. I think I get hit too, actually. I throw a dot on the other one as I leave. So yeah, 700 damage crit. So I'm at 6 stacks. Does 1,000 damage on that 7th tick. So, yep. I mean that's the fight. There's a lot, but everyone has pretty clear roles. Whatever your role is, you just have to excel at it. You also have to minimize the damage you're taking. Like, look at how much raid damage that is, because people are just standing in the wrong spot. All these people, hey, small eyes are going to spawn in 2 seconds. I know right here where Skull is. An ad will spawn here. So Skull, is this guy, he takes 1,000 damage there, and then he takes 3,000 damage again from the giant eye. That's just from like RNG. Well, the second set, the 3,000 damage, that's RNG because you don't know who it's going to hit. But mitigate your damage. Get a loose spread, or a loose stack, I guess if you want to call it. This pizza slice. Don't go past this pillar. This is nice. This is within range of people to counterspell or to kick or pummel the giant eye beam. And you're just killing stuff as it shows up. You're using bandages. You're using hellstones. You're using mana pots. You're using anything you got to help the raid survive. Conserve mana. Get your wisdom. There's no wisdom on the boss right here. Like, you want wisdom so you can wand and melee it. Yeah. Okay. Just shy of an hour. Wow. That is solid. And then the boss will die and we'll get some sick fucking loot. And it'll be fucking awesome. Yeah, see right here, it's one phase. They're just killing the boss. They're not even worrying about the claw. You can just have a tank off tank it. So yeah, so that's AQ40. As always, feel free to ask me. That's some good loot. Blood of Agony and GOA. Feel free to ask me any questions. I do these videos so that we can minimize what's going on raid day. We want to be prepared before the raid. We want to have everyone know what's going on with the boss. I only really want to explain strategy on raid day, saying, hey, this person, you're doing this. I don't want to explain boss mechanics. So make sure to give this, I guess this probably should have been said at the beginning, but just give the video a watch and yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.